Question: have you ever noticed that the moment you stop caring, they start chasing? The second you stop explaining, they start guessing. And the instant you walk away, suddenly you're the one they can't stop thinking about. There's a reason that happens. And it's not luck. It's not some dating trick. It's human nature. And more importantly, it's psychology. The truth is simple, but brutal. Ignoring her works better than loving her. Not because love is weak, but because when a man gives his attention without discipline, he becomes invisible. When he gives his heart without standards, he becomes replaceable. And when he gives his energy without self-control, he loses himself. Welcome to the Stoic Guy, where we don't chase validation, we build value. Where we don't beg to be chosen, we become the kind of man who can't be ignored. If you're tired of overthinking, tired of giving your all and getting nothing back, tired of being the man who's always trying to prove his worth, then this is your home. Because here, we're not here to play games. We're here to master the mind. So if you're ready to stop chasing what's running and start attracting what aligns, stay till the end. Because what I'm about to tell you will change the way you see relationships forever. Let's begin. See, the moment you give someone all your attention, you hand over your power. And most men do it without even realizing it. You text too quickly, you explain too much. You overthink every silence, every emoji, every delay. You start chasing comfort instead of clarity. But here's the truth. The man who needs reassurance will always be ruled by the one who withholds it. Women don't consciously plan it this way. It's not manipulation, it's instinct. They test not because they're cruel, but because they're searching for strength. They're not testing your words. They're testing your emotional control. And when you react out of fear, panic, or desperation, you fail the test without even knowing it. But when you ignore her, not with anger, but with composure, something changes. The energy shifts. She can feel it. Because for the first time, you're not chasing her approval. You're not explaining your worth. You're not begging for validation. You're standing still. You've stopped being predictable. And in her mind, unpredictability equals value. Curiosity equals attraction. The silence becomes loud. It echoes. It lingers. That's why ignoring her works better than loving her. Because love without boundaries is chaos. Attention without self-control is weakness. And a man who cannot withdraw when necessary will always live in emotional debt. But I know what you're thinking. Shouldn't love be about expression? Shouldn't I show her how much I care? And yes, you should love deeply, but never blindly. The Stoics understood this perfectly. Love should be a choice, not a need. When you need someone to respond, you're no longer loving, you're depending. And dependency destroys polarity. When she becomes your center, you lose your gravity. And when you lose your gravity, she stops orbiting. Let me say this clearly. The moment you start chasing, she starts retreating. It's not personal. It's balance. The more you invest into someone who's giving less, the less they feel they have to give. It's a natural law of human behavior. We value what's scarce, and we take for granted what's abundant. So every time you double text, over-explain, or overcompensate, you're training her to see you as background noise. The harder you try, the softer your impact. But when you go silent, when you stop proving and start observing, she feels the shift. She feels your absence press against her ego. And that's when the real chase begins. If this hit so far, drop a fire emoji in the comments. And if you're building unshakable self-respect, hit subscribe right now. I see every single one of you who's been watching these videos till the end, and I don't take it for granted. You're not just viewers. You're part of a movement. So stay with me till the end, because there's a story I'll share that'll show you why silence always wins. Now, let's go deeper. This one hits. Ignoring her doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care about yourself more. It means your peace has become a priority, not a product of her attention. When you stop trying to explain your worth, you create space for mystery. And mystery fuels attraction. She starts thinking about what you're doing, who you're with, and why you're so calm. She starts checking your socials, revisiting your old messages, replaying the things you said when she didn't listen. And it's not because you're manipulating her. It's because you've become unpredictable. You've stepped out of her script. Women are drawn to men who can't be easily defined. Men who have layers, purpose, and depth. But most men make the mistake of giving everything away too soon. They share every emotion, every detail, every thought, thinking it'll bring closeness. But it only kills intrigue. Because when you reveal everything, there's nothing left to discover. That's why you must learn the art of strategic silence. Speak with action, not explanation. Show, but never overexpose. The man who ignores her respectfully, who chooses peace over performance, becomes a mystery she needs to solve. Because the less she knows about your emotions, the more she feels them. The less you react, the more powerful your presence becomes. Let me tell you something. The most dangerous man is not the one who argues, but the one who stays calm while being misunderstood. Because that man is in control, and control is irresistible. But here's the twist. Ignoring her isn't really about her. It's about you. It's about training your emotions to serve you instead of sabotage you. Every time you stop yourself from reaching out, you're building discipline. Every time you resist the urge to explain, you're building power. Every time you sit with the silence instead of chasing closure, you're growing stronger. Because self-control is the highest form of dominance. When you stop giving your energy to those who don't value it, you start attracting those who do. It's not magic, it's math. Attention is currency. Give it wisely or you'll always end up bankrupt. And here's the part that most men miss. Ignoring her doesn't make her come back. It makes you come back to yourself. You regain your purpose, your balance, your drive. You start remembering who you were before you started begging for attention. You stop waiting for texts and start chasing goals. You stop worrying about being loved and start loving your mission. That's when women feel it, that shift from desperation to detachment. That's when she looks at you differently. Because now, you're no longer the man trying to be chosen. You're the man who chooses. Pause here and breathe. Because if you've made it this far, I see you. You're not just watching. You're growing. You're not here for cheap motivation. You're here because you want transformation, and that takes discipline. So thank you for staying this long. You're part of the top 10% who don't just scroll, they study. And if you haven't subscribed yet, do it now. Hit that button because I promise you, what's coming next will reshape your entire mindset. Now let's talk about what silence really does to her. When you go quiet, she starts to project her own insecurities onto your absence. She wonders what changed. She replays old conversations. She starts questioning her own value. not because you said something, but because you didn't. Your silence becomes a mirror reflecting her behavior. It makes her face the consequences of her actions. That's why ignoring works. Not because it hurts her, but because it forces reflection. Think about it. When you keep talking, defending, explaining, she never has to sit with guilt or curiosity. But when you walk away calmly, you give her silence as feedback. You create a psychological vacuum, and nature hates a vacuum. She'll try to fill it with explanation, attention, or validation. But by then, you've already shifted. You've stopped operating from emotion. You've become the man in control. This is why the Stoics taught, he who angers you conquers you. And in relationships, that anger isn't always rage. Sometimes it's neediness, confusion, or overthinking. When you allow someone's inconsistency to dictate your energy, you've surrendered control. But when you stay calm in chaos, you become the calm she craves. Here's something you need to understand. Women don't fall for men who react. They fall for men who respond. The difference is power. Reacting is emotional. Responding is deliberate. And sometimes, the best response is silence. Ignoring her works because it communicates without words. It says, I'm not competing for attention. It says, my peace is worth more than your games. It says, I value myself too much to explain the obvious. That kind of energy speaks louder than any text or argument ever could. And yet, here's the irony. When you finally stop chasing, she'll start reaching out. Not always because she misses you, but because she misses your validation. That's when your discipline is tested the most. Don't break it. Don't fall back into the cycle of proving. Stay composed. Let her come to you, but never return to what drained you. Detachment is not indifference. It's understanding that peace is more important than attention. You'll notice something powerful happen when you live this way. You'll start to attract not just women, but respect. People will treat you differently. You'll walk differently, speak differently, move differently. Because you're no longer chasing love. You're embodying it. You've become the kind of man who doesn't need to be chosen because he's already chosen himself. And if you're still here watching, I mean it. Thank you. You're the reason this channel exists. You could have clicked away, but you didn't. You stayed, and that tells me something. You're serious about growth. You're not just another guy scrolling through videos. You're a man ready to evolve. So if this message has hit something deep, don't just nod. Act. Subscribe to the Stoic Guy right now. Because this channel isn't about hype, it's about healing. It's about reclaiming your power, one truth at a time. And I promise you, the next video will go even deeper. Now, the story I promised you. There was once a man who loved a woman more than his own reflection. He gave her everything: time, effort, affection, validation. And for a while, she loved it. But as his attention grew, her respect shrank. Until one day she left. He was devastated. Weeks passed, then months. He tried texting, calling, apologizing. Nothing. One morning, he woke up, looked in the mirror, and realized something. He had spent so long chasing her, he'd forgotten who he was. So he stopped texting, stopped explaining, stopped waiting. He went silent, started reading again, training again, building again. Months later, she texted him, I miss how calm you used to be. But by then, it was too late. He had changed. He didn't reply to hurt her. He just didn't need to anymore. Because he'd finally become the man he was trying to prove he was. That's what ignoring her does. It doesn't make her weaker. It makes you stronger. It makes you remember your worth without needing it mirrored back. So if you're in that place right now, sitting in silence, wondering if she's thinking about you, stop wondering. Let her think. You focus. Let her question. You build. Because the truth is, the moment you stop chasing what's leaving, you start attracting what's meant to stay. Keep thinking, keep watching, and above all, keep evolving. And if you're ready to keep walking the real path, the hard one, the good one, make sure you stay stoic, stay sharp,